One of the most important tools in economics is the demand curve. The demand curve shows the quantity that consumers are willing and able to buy at different prices in a given time period. On this slide we have a picture of the demand for oil. On the x-axis we are measuring the quantity of oil demanded, which is measured in millions of barrels per day, and up on the y-axis we have the price of a barrel of oil. The demand curve shows that there is an inverse relationship or negative relationship between the price and the quantity demanded. What this suggests is that as the price of a barrel of oil falls, the quantity of oil demanded increases, or vice versa. As the price of oil increases, the quantity of oil demanded decreases. It also shows us that at a given price, for instance at $55, the amount of oil that these consumers are willing and able to buy is 5 million barrels per day. If the price falls down to 20, the quantity of oil demanded increases to 25 million barrels per day, and finally if the price falls down to 5, the quantity of oil demanded increases to 50 million barrels per day. Now the way we just read the demand curve is what's known as a horizontal reading of the demand curve. And that's what's shown on the left-hand graph in this particular slide. Again, all you're saying is at a given price, how much are the consumers willing and able to buy? But there's an alternative way to interpret the demand curve, and one that's going to be very useful throughout this course. The vertical reading, which is depicted in the right-hand graph, says an alternative way to think about the demand curve is that the demand curve tells us what the value is of a particular unit of oil. So for instance, right there where it says start, this suggests that the 25 millionth barrel of oil is worth $20 to the person who wants to buy it. Or in other words, the most that this person would be willing to pay would be up to $20 for the 25 millionth barrel of oil. Now what about the 5 millionth barrel of oil? The 5 millionth barrel of oil, which is one of the first barrels sold, we see that somebody would be willing to pay up to $55 for that barrel of oil. Someone puts a really high value on the oil, and of course it makes sense that those who value the product most are probably going to be the ones who are most likely to get it. So you have a particular consumer who's willing to pay up to $55 for a barrel of oil. They're probably going to be one of the first ones to get a barrel of oil. As opposed to if you have somebody who's only willing to pay $5 for a barrel of oil, they're going to have to wait a long time to be able to purchase a barrel of oil. And here in this graph we see that for somebody who would buy the 50 millionth barrel of oil, that the person who's buying that 50 millionth barrel of oil had to wait a long time for that barrel because they were only willing to pay $5 for it.